Modern design these days is super boring. I feel like we really need to have a conversation about it because it's starting to dictate how we actually design and live in our spaces, and honestly, it looks like And I'd also like to thank Ritual for sponsoring today's video, but we're gonna get into that a little later. This idea of contemporary design has really challenged designers like myself in how we design spaces and what we can actually put in it to make it livable and comfortable, as well as actually designing the space so it feels like it's home. As a society, technology has advanced so far in terms of how we design and live in our spaces that it really comes down to a lack of personality and ease in comfort in terms of how we actually live in these spaces. We've lost all identity and personality when it comes to design, when we really incorporate contemporary as the forefront of how these spaces dictate how we live. Another big thing I've noticed is how areas are segregated to certain designs and how they orient to how these spaces and how we live. If we were to do an example between California and New York, for example, obviously New York is a very old money style. There is so much money and wealth that comes from it, but that shows you the level of detail that really is incorporated into the design of buildings, architecture, interiors, and the styles of how they really bring exact details and minute details into these spaces to make it feel so personable and so much detail oriented into the overall design, from everything to wainscoting, crown molding, shoe molding, doors. Everything has a specific design detail that is oriented toward the specific look that you want. Contrasted with a California style, which is obviously very new money, open air. There is a view that comes with it. Everything is glass, clean, simple, and contemporary. The design lacks so much detail that is it really something that you would want to live in, or is it just something that looks beautiful to look at? I think another really important factor to touch point on is the fact that our spaces are getting smaller and smaller. The average condo size in Toronto is less than 700 square feet, which to me is absolutely wild how more than one people live in these spaces. But this also brings attention to how these spaces are designed and dictated. With having such small rooms that we live in, can we really actually have all these details that are oriented towards this really beautiful traditional style? Or is it we're only moving towards this contemporary style because we literally have no room? I want you to tell me in the comments what you really think about this, because honestly, it has got me thinking so many different directions on how we can actually achieve these more transitional spaces that include detail and timeless designs while still complementing this transitional and contemporary design together. Listen, your daddy loves a good thirst trap photo, and what better way than to supply you with them than supplements from Ritual. Trust me when I say that my gut health has completely changed after taking these. Fun fact that I bet you didn't know, that I'm actually a spin instructor, and health and fitness has always been a major part of how I live my life. And when it comes to health and wellness, a lot of people don't consider how important gut health actually is. And listen, Design Daddy's not getting any younger. You gotta take care of yourself. It's Design Daddy, not Design Twink, for those who are asking. Cue shirtless photo. Gut health for me is really important because honestly, I will never turn down pizza. You hand it to me, even if I'm full, I'm gonna eat it. And knowing full well I'm gonna be bloated afterwards. Synbiotic Plus is a 3-in-1 prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic, which is a game changer because it is everything all in one pill. Synbiotic Plus is the first supplement that I've actually felt a difference taking, and the fact that I can take it any time of the day on an empty stomach or full is a plus, especially with how busy my schedule is. I also bet you didn't know that your gut health dictates 70% of your immune system, so it's not just all about exercise and sunshine to keep you healthy. Your gut honestly dictates how you feel 100% of the time, and if you know, you know. The delayed release capsule is designed to actually reach your colon, so you get all those benefits from this symbiotic rather than it just being digested in your stomach. Most probiotics you have to refrigerate, and honestly, if I don't have it within eyesight, I'm not gonna take it with my smoothie. I take it daily with all my other vitamins because it's shelf stable. If you place an order with Ritual and you don't like it in the first 30 days, the order's on them. You can also get 25% off your first order using code DesignDaddy25. Unlike my stomach, let's make sure this video doesn't get too bloated and get back to the subject. Good design, in my opinion, whether it's for myself or any of my clients, it comes down to creating a feeling. That is the core value about any space that I design and curate for them. I want you to feel in a space. It's not just about how it looks. A feeling in a space really allows you to connect to it and draw attention to how this space really allows you to understand how you work, live, and play. It also poses the question of what makes a room or a building special to you? Is it the lighting? Is it the design? Is it a carpet? Is it a color? What evokes an emotion in your space? So I want you to look at whatever room you're in now and pinpoint what really draws your attention and to why. This is always how I start with designing a space, because I want you to start with either a color, a picture, an inspiration, and really break it down onto what makes you feel special about that space. That is the underlining fundamental of any space that you're going to be designing, and that is also how you're going to be able to curate a space to make it feel like home. So let's do a quick breakdown of what this ultra modern and contemporary style is. Honestly, when you look at the architectural aspects of it, it's a lot of convoluted blocks that are connected and almost feel like they've exploded. Yes, they are really beautiful, but in terms of how you're actually connected to this space, you walk by it and you're like, oh, that's really cool. But is this actually a space that you would live in? Or if we contrast it with that transitional style, I want you to compare the two. These are the perfect two picture examples that I want you to kind of decide what you like the most. Is it that ultra modern contemporary style of these exploding blocks? Is it the exterior details of the trim, the woodwork, the concrete, the carved styles of these buildings that draw you in? And let me know in the comments whether you are more contemporary or if you like that old money style. Like I mentioned before, I truly believe that this super contemporary sleek design is very new money in terms of the style. I just picture every billionaire in Silicon Valley having this exact style. When you contrast it, like I said, in New York, it's old money. It's all about the details. It's all about creating that evoked feeling of how this space actually has craftsman details into how you live. I guess this also poses another question of that new money and old money aesthetic and how it really relates to everything in how we live. It's not just how we style ourselves, it's how our spaces really feel. Are we going with details? Are we going with trim? Are we going with soffits? What do the doors look like? Are we putting wainscoting on? Or are we just keeping it super clean and simple, and how that actually appeals to you? As I mentioned, interior design is very regional all around the world and how it dictates to how we live and work in these spaces. In this new age of how money has really dictated how these spaces are designed, it really shows you how people pay attention to detail versus having that old money and new money style, especially when it comes to the architectural styles of your homes. I have looked at so many different architecture firms and how they are designing spaces now. Honestly, it looks like cheap cardboard boxes, which I know I'm probably going to get some hate from some architects on here. But if we're being honest, look at these references. Every single design of all these houses feel like it's a carbon copy. There is no characteristic that really distinguishes a home from a home. And if we really want to do a wild comparison, we're turning into these McMansions. Instead of having these McMansions of these suburbs that are just multi-generational homes, we are now doing McMansions that are contemporary styles that are these exploding boxes all connected to each other, which in my opinion is very alienistic. I honestly love a contemporary home. I think they're super cool and really unique. The one thing that really is disheartening to me is when I walk through a neighborhood of these beautiful old age, stunning personality homes, and there's one. That one is like got a front fucking red door. It has got this beam that posts out over the sidewalk. It is something that is so unruly and unmatched in this space that really throws you off. I think if they were to incorporate this kind of contemporary style to really reference a lot of details of the existing homes in these neighborhoods, this would be the perfect opportunity to really blend these two styles together so they don't feel out of place. And a lot of people are not taking that into consideration. I honestly would love to hear what all you have to say in the comments, because this has been such a big debate across interior designers, architects, engineers alike, and how these spaces and homes are really designed and what direction we're actually going towards and what you actually like to live in and what you like to look at. As always, thanks for watching. This has been such a fantastic platform for me to really just vent about whatever the hell I want to talk about and also get your really great takes in the comments. I hope this gave you some kind of value in terms of what kind of home you're looking for and what kind of style that really draws you in, and at the end of the day, how a home and a space really makes you feel. Ultimately, at the end of the day, it's really gonna be what you like. I know you're coming to watch to hear what I say, but you're the one living in your space, so keep that in mind. Be sure to like this video, and if you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on all my socials at Mr. Phoenix Gray for all my daily tips and tricks. And remember, if you're ever second guessing yourself, just ask, what would Design Daddy do? Spend $4 million on a contemporary home. Boom.